So you're looking to move to Oshawa and you want to know what are the good areas and what areas should I avoid? While Oshawa has a great variety of homes and charming neighborhoods, there are definitely some areas that you may want to avoid or at least know more information about before you potentially move into them. So I figured I would make this video from the perspective of a lifetime local resident of Oshawa and the Durham region and tell you about the 5 neighborhoods that you may want to avoid if you're moving here. My name is Jessie McLellan and I'm also a real estate agent with the Lisa Abbott team here in Oshawa, Ontario. If you're looking to move here, whether you're from Oshawa already or outside of the province and want to ask me questions about purchasing a home here, you can always use the link in the description to book a call with me at whatever time works best for you. And if you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with anybody you know who might be looking to move into the area so that they know what to look out for. A quick reminder that this video is just based on my personal experiences. I really am trying to approach it from the perspective of what would I want to know if I were unfamiliar but looking to move into this area. This is not to criticize anyone who lives in or is buying in these neighborhoods, but rather to keep you informed and bring you up to speed as if you were a local. There's lots of things to consider and lots of families already live in these neighborhoods because they work for them, whether it's proximity to shopping or services available, their employment, or because of affordability. That's what works for their needs. However, if your needs and budget allow you to consider other neighborhoods, I would always recommend exploring those options too and making the best, most informed decision for you. And of course, you should always seek out your own professional advice. I'm gonna get the most common area out of the way first, and that is South Oshawa. Everyone you talk to seems to have a different idea of where South Oshawa actually begins. Some say south of King, some say south of Adelaide. It really is going to depend on who you talk to. But if you're automatically going to exclude such massive areas, you really are limiting yourself unnecessarily. In my opinion, South Oshawa really is south of the 401 here. And I'm not including all of South Oshawa as an area to avoid. There are definitely pockets that I would personally tend to stay away from, but there is also a lot of future potential in South Oshawa and the Lakeview community, so do not write this entire area off. The main area and streets that I would definitely be cautious of are Glen Street, Wentworth, Cedar, and Oxford, and they're kind of all in this section here. This stretch of Wentworth between Park Road and Simcoe Street and the roads that extend right off of it are really what I would caution you most about. The further you get from Wentworth and the closer you get to Philip Murray, the better the areas tend to get. Opinions will vary, but personally, as a woman who likes to walk around the neighborhood a lot, it's not a neighborhood that I would feel 100% comfortable in. Now, I do have clients who live and have lived in this area, and I've sold a number of homes and condo apartments in that neighborhood and know a lot of people who really like that area and it works for them. I even had a close family member live in one of the condo buildings down there for many years and he never had an issue. There are also a lot of apartment buildings there, and so you have a higher population density. But with what some of the homes are selling for in that area, I would definitely consider other options as well. But don't write off the south end completely, because the further away from Wentworth you get and the closer to Philip Murray, the better the area tends to be. And the Oshawa lakefront is severely underrated. It has an awesome beach, a big new playground and splash pad for kids, and there's always soccer or baseball games going on down there, and it's always been a great place for a family day. With Oshawa investing more in their lakefront and plans for new condos to be built, I do think that good changes are coming, and in the future, I think that the Lakeview community will be more desirable, like many of the neighboring cities and towns' lakefronts are. The one thing I would consider though is if you have children or plan on having children, what school they would end up feeding into. While there is a lot to love about the Lakeview community, some of those areas feed into the same schools as the other areas, so just something to be mindful of. So that's going to have to be a personal choice that you make for your children, but it is something that I always mention to people looking to purchase a home in the Lakeview community, so it's something I thought I would mention to you as well. The next area that I want you to be cautious of is Central Oshawa. A good rule of thumb for Central Oshawa is to avoid west of Ritson. This pocket from Center Street to Ritson and King to Olive is an area that I would recommend avoiding if you can. For all the flack that South Oshawa gets, I honestly think that this area can be even more concerning. This area is really at the center of where the homeless population and the drug users tend to congregate, and it's just south of downtown Oshawa, which is where many of the social services and resources are located. It's unfortunate because downtown Oshawa has a lot of potential. The Tribute Community Center is on Athol Street, and you can catch the Oshawa Generals hockey game, and many other great concerts and events as well. There's also the Region Theatre, the Biltmore Theatre, and the new Oshawa Music Hall, which are all within 5-minute walk of each other and attract many artists and events year-round. Between the venues and the restaurants, it really is a great place to spend an evening or a weekend, but I would caution you about purchasing a property in the immediate area at this time, but they have begun to take steps to help revitalize downtown, so I'm interested to see what they continue to do. Once you get across Ritson Road, Arthur, Athol, Eulalie, Bruce, and many of these streets are in beautiful neighborhoods. They are older 2-story homes, but on the east side of Ritson, the neighborhoods are more well kept and would be a better fit for most families. Olive Avenue can also get a bit of a bad reputation, especially with people who have lived in Oshawa for a long time, but the problems associated with Olive Avenue are actually only in a small stretch that's less than 25% of Olive Avenue. Most people are thinking of the part of Olive Avenue between Simcoe and Ritson, and there are the infamous row houses that have had a number of really bad fires over the years, and many of the big streets to avoid, like Salina and John, run right into that part of Olive. The other side of Olive heading towards Town Line actually has a lot of really nice homes, tons of bungalows, and I would have no reservations or concerns about safety or living in that area. The only thing that you could maybe deduct from it is that certain parts of Olive during certain times of the day may see a decent amount of traffic, but it's not a super busy main road like if you were living on King or Bond or Taunton, and it has great homes to offer. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon to see out-of-town or unfamiliar buyers purchase a home in this pocket and then try to relocate a short time after, and it's usually because of the area. I always caution my clients about this area. Even though the home looks really nice inside and is listed cheaper than everywhere else, there's a reason, and you don't want to purchase a property that you will have a lot of difficulty selling in the future. You can always upgrade a home after you've purchased, but unfortunately you can't upgrade the area. The next area that you'll want to avoid is located in the Centennial community. The Centennial community is home to some really charming neighborhoods that have older but beautiful homes. Many of these homes were built when Oshawa was a booming General Motors town back in the 50s and 60s, but they have been really well maintained or renovated over the years. For the most part, there are really great family-friendly neighborhoods up here with big lots and a variety of different styles of homes. But there is one small area that I would want you to avoid, which is right around Nonquan Road. Right in between Beatrice Street and Taunton Road. It's a very small pocket, but if you are able to avoid it, I would definitely consider other options. This small pocket has a lot of big apartment buildings, and there are townhouses very similar to the ones that you would find on Glen Street in South Oshawa. And actually, I would say that this area, this very small area, has a very similar vibe to that part that I mentioned in South Oshawa before. The only homes you'll probably see come up for sale here are at the townhouses at 120 Nonquan. The price of the townhomes in that complex usually range from $400,000 to high $500,000s, plus a monthly maintenance fee of about $330. So if your budget and needs allow you to, definitely explore all of your options. I know it's incredibly difficult to find a 3-bedroom home in Oshawa under $550,000, and you can absolutely find units in that complex that have been really well cared for and upgraded to the nines. But like I said before, you can always upgrade your home, but unfortunately you can't upgrade the area. And for right now, that's still an area to avoid. And just so you know, if you do purchase in that area, it'll likely take a lot longer to sell, and that pocket probably won't experience the same appreciation as the rest of the community will. The next area that I'm going to mention is another small pocket, much like the Nonquan, that's surrounded by really nice neighborhoods, and that is the Rideau area. So we're all the way down here. This is a small pocket in the McLaughlin community, and it mostly consists of apartment buildings in the Rideau townhouse complex. Now, these townhomes and apartments are all rented, but there are some detached homes sprinkled throughout this area. As a general rule, I would tend to avoid what's in this square, so from Gibbons to Park and Adelaide to Bond. The neighborhoods surrounding this area aren't an issue. There's some really great homes and some good opportunities that come up, especially in the neighborhoods just west and north of that area. It really is just kind of that pocket around the apartment buildings in the townhouse complex that I would recommend you stay away from. And the last area isn't like the other areas. You would drive through this neighborhood and think, why in the world would Jessie tell me to be cautious of this area? It's all nicer, newer homes, and it's in an area of Oshawa that is rapidly growing and will continue to grow for years to come. And you definitely wouldn't get a questionable vibe driving through there. The area that I'm talking about is right near Durham College, and that is the Simcoe and Britannia neighborhood in the Winfields community. The reason that I mention this is because although it's a newer area with many nicer and larger homes, it tends to be very pockety and hit or miss with who your neighbors are going to be. It can change drastically block to block, and there's been a number of shootings in that area, and for the price range that the homes sell for in that area, you can look almost anywhere else in Oshawa. Many of the homes right around Britannia and Simcoe are rented to students or groups of students attending the college, and therefore your experience living in that area can either be very family friendly or it can be very college student friendly, depending on what street and what block you're on. If it's the bigger homes or proximity to the college that's drawing you to that area, I would look just a little bit closer to Ritson Road rather than Simcoe, as the area doesn't seem to have the same level of issues that the Simcoe area does, but it's still in close proximity to the college and it still has a very similar style of homes. If you take a look at the Durham Regional Police Service crime map, almost all of the incidents taking place in the Winfields community are right around the Simcoe and Britannia intersection, mostly just north of Britannia, but the closer you look towards Ritson Road, you'll see that there's a lot fewer reported crimes. There are a lot of really nice homes in this area, and some people might not agree with me, but if you were from out of the area and someone told you just avoid South Oshawa and you'll have no issues, you would probably be surprised with the amount of activity that can happen in this area. I always want my clients to consider resale value and the desirability of the home that they're thinking of purchasing, because ultimately it will affect the potential appreciation of the home's value, who might be interested in buying it from them in the future, and how long it'll likely take them to sell, especially if the market is less favorable. I hope the areas I mentioned help you make the best decision and choose the right fit for you and your family. If you would like to ask me a question about anything in this video or have a question about buying or selling a home in Durham Region, you can use the link in the description to book a call with me at a time that works for you. And my contact information is in there as well if you need it. Let me know in a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Would you like me to do a video on the best neighborhoods in Oshawa or areas to avoid in Whitby or Ajax or some other area? Be sure to let me know, and thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!